an adult. I know fish aren't for me, but do I know ferrets aren't for me? Stay tuned.
Captain's Pod, Stardate 822923.1. Welcome aboard the Starship's Enterprise, and thank you for joining us as we take a brief shore leave from the world of CinemaSins to explore the universe of Star Trek. I'm your Captain Ian Whittington, and with me this week, she will drain your bones and look adorable while doing it. It's Ambassador Moopsie Deneé.
It's Ambassador Moopsie Deneé. Don't get close. I'll suck you dry.
Moopsie. I freaking can't stop thinking about Moopsie. It's so adorable.
Why?
That just needs a spin-off. I'm a sucker for adorable. I love Pokemon. I'm a sucker for something that says its own name in an adorable way and then ends up being murdery as well.
Yeah. I can see then why you can't stop thinking about Moopsie.
Mm-hmm. It'd be a great D&D, like, not NPC, but like bad guy, as long as, like, I would love to make something so adorable that the party feels terrible guilt about killing it.
Or they adopt it into the party and then it turns on them at some point.
No, well, I'm thinking that this is something that is 100% evil. Like, this is specifically killing orphans, but it is so adorable. Like, there's no two ways about it. You have to kill this thing, but I really want them to struggle with it.
To join Ian's campaign, please message us, captainspod@cinemasins.com.
How you doing this week, Ambassador?
I'm doing good, Captain. Thank you. How are you?
I'm good. Let's do some emails. We have a follow-up email. I mainly just want to pat myself on the back. From Lodere Boschetti Jr. I said her name right.
You did.
I did say her name right.
Oh, I like that you heard back. That's
Her
awesome.
reply email says, first things first. Yes, Ian, you nailed my name. I was grinning from ear to ear. Names are important, people. I even got the origins of it right. It has a Gaelic tinge to it. I did well. However, she also had a follow-up question for you, Ambassador Deneé.
Oh my God, has someone taken up the mantle of me saying just asking anything that's not Star Trek related?
Well, I don't know if the not Star Trek related bit was communicated properly, but she says, now on to more important stuff. I have a couple of questions for Ambassador Deneé. What is your favorite Star Trek show out of the ones that we've been watching so far? So far we've had Picard, Strange New World, Lower Decks, TNG, one episode of Voyager, Deep Space Nine.
I think that's it.
I think that's it. Yeah, and some movies.
I'm just going to be the boring person. Yeah, we did watch some movies. We've
done some original series movies, 2 of them, I think.
It's hard to say anything other than TNG
right?
Because of the nostalgia of it. And that's the only Star Trek that I really was into. And kind of the reason that we started this podcast was because Picard was starting, and Picard is my favorite character. Which I change my favorite character frequently, though. Like, that's
fair. We all do that. There's so many to choose from.
Character, you know, I don't actually have a list that's an untouchable list.
It's favorite character right now.
Yeah, it's like the moment-to-moment emotional attachment list.
Yeah.
But truly, Picard is this like iconic, for me, character that I saw with consistency and was able to navigate a lot of moments and leadership, and he had such great tact, and I don't know, I really loved Picard. So when we started this podcast, it was just to explore Picard and revisit kind of like the things I would have forgotten alongside the super nerd, which is Ian.
Hello.
But season 1 of Strange New Worlds was incredible for me because it looped in the TOS sort of vibe that I have been missing in a new revamped storytelling way that I really enjoy. And sometimes watching the old TNG episodes, I just kind of am like, wow, they do a lot of nothing in these, and that was okay.
Yes. It's so interesting. I was like, why is that okay then, but not okay when it happens now? And there's lots of reasons for that, but nostalgia's a big one. But yeah, storytelling has just changed so much.
So I think it would be the new, like, me now. If I was going to watch something again, I would probably want to watch an episode of the first season of Strange New Worlds, but there's so few of them. Whereas TNG has a plethora to go back and dip into.
Yeah, and so many that you either haven't seen or won't remember because you saw them so long ago. There was I saw an interesting thing the other day, circling back to your favourite something, and I always feel a lot of pressure when somebody says, "What's your favourite movie?" Because it feels like you're pinning yourself down to something really, really important for me, anyway. But the person that's asking the question doesn't really care. Like, they're not looking for like a critical analysis or judging you based on what you say your favorite movie is. They're not going to hold you to that. They're asking as a conversation starter and as a way of getting to know you. So you may as well say a genre more than a film, because they're more just like trying to get a grasp on what type of stuff you're into, not that they're keeping a tally of everyone's favorite movies. So it's interesting to try and remove that pressure from saying what your favorite is and just do the thing that reflects you in the moment a lot more. I thought that helped me. That helped me like take the pressure off.
If I want to watch something that's just a comforting thing, it's going to be TNG. If I want to watch something that I can kind of dig into a little bit, I would probably be this season 1 of Strange New Worlds.
Yeah, love it.
Thank you for asking me a question.
Thank you for the question. Now, the next challenge for anybody out there is something non-specific. Just ask the ambassador something insanely personal. Okay, Ambassador, this week we have got episode 3 of Lower Deck Season 4 in the Cradle of Vexilon. I haven't watched a trailer. I know nothing about this episode. I don't even know what a Vexilon is. To my knowledge, and I'm going to get shot for this, it isn't referring to anything we've seen before in Star Trek, even though it has a very TOS-style name, but I'm completely in the dark about this one. Do you have any predictions?
Cradle baby.
Okay.
So there's gonna be a birthing in this one.
Nope.
Yep.
Nope.
Just like when remember we started off in like the birth canal.
Oh, in season 3 of Picard.
Yeah. So we're gonna be birth canaling, I think, for sure.
I don't think anybody wants that.
I did see the thumbnail.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Because I was pulling up Paramount, and of course they have the thumbnail of the episode. So I do feel like I have a little bit more knowledge than you do just based on thumbnail, and it doesn't look like it's going to be a great experience.
Oh no. Oh no. What does that mean? Oh no.
It looked very doomy.
Doom as in the video game or Doom as in like nightmare?
It looked very serious.
Oh boy.
You know? And there was like a red tint to it. So my oddly specific is the first thing that came to mind was lava. So I'm just going to say something about lava. But that doesn't really make sense to the birthing thing. So, but you know what? I've never write about this stuff. So
metaphors, how do they work? Amazing. Okay, well, I'm excited. I'm interested to see where this season is going. We will see you in 10 Forward for our debrief. To beam to the holodeck. Welcome to 10 Forward, the part of the show where we grab a drink or something from the replicator, stutter through the opening, and share our immediate thoughts and feelings on the episode we may or may not have just watched. Most important question first, what would you like from the replicator? Scalding
hot tea, please. Not iced tea. I want to have scalding hot tea. You know, this actually happened to me a couple of days ago. I'm helping a company with some ideas for their organization, some project management stuff, and I went for a consultation, and I'm sitting down and I'm hearing their thoughts and ideas. I'm helping them do the thing. I love doing this with companies, with projects, people, whatever. So I'm sitting there. I'm in my element. But they have a Keurig machine, and they have like the little pods, and some of them are coffees and some of them are teas. And I made myself a little tea or whatever and set it down. And I was like, okay, so here's what we're going to do. Da, 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 da. I kind of start the meeting, and I open it up to hear the thoughts and ideas that they're having, like the project thing. I reach down, I pick up my thing, I drink my tea. I set it down. It was hot. It was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but the meeting completely stopped because they were like, you just drank that? Like, we have to wait 5-10 minutes to drink that. And I think that means I've just scalded my mouth so many times throughout the years that maybe it's just all, you know, scar tissue inside my face now. I don't know. But it was something where I felt then weird about taking another drink.
Yeah, because it's going to derail the meeting.
I was thirsty.
That's the British equivalent of the Bechdel test. So instead of like, can you have two female characters together talking about anything unless it's a relationship? The English version is, can you have two English characters get together and not talk about tea? And yeah.
Can you?
No, you can't.
No.
You absolutely can't. We have to talk about tea. And I would like the scalding hot isolinear chips, because I think a series of isolinear chips would go lovely with my models. And I'm yet to buy a 3D printer yet because I don't want to fall down that particular rabbit hole and literally have a replicate.
I am such a purist with our show. I get so mad when you go off of what we did at the very beginning. I realize that we're in whatever season of the show now. Like, we've been doing this for a hot minute, but it was supposed to be a drink, and then it was supposed maybe a food, and now you're like, I'm just gonna have a chip, and it's not even like a Dorito chip. Yeah, I know you changed it. You've changed it to fit your narrative, and I'm still upset about it.
Isolinear shaped Dorito chips, because that would be delicious and nerdy. That's what I want.
Mm-hmm. Okay, what flavor would they be if they're going to be like that green color?
Lime. Yeah, the slightly like kind of spicy lime herby thing that you get. Anyway, give us a synopsis.
Okay. Today's episode, some stuff happens. Okay, can we just get to the most important thing? In today's episode, I guessed my non-specific thing, and that's all that matters. And here's why it's the only thing that matters. Is because I oddly specific. What did I say oddly specific about this episode? We're going to skip to the end.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Sorry, I forgot your prediction. Your oddly specific prediction was that there would be lava.
How did I do that?
And there was.
And that's all that matters. That's the only part of the synopsis that makes sense.
This is the psychic problem. If a psychic makes 1,000 predictions, one of them will come true just by playing the numbers. We do this every episode. Deneé is not psychic, but this is fun. It does happen more often than you would statistically think possible.
My psychic powers came in today.
There is literally lava in this episode. No, like, messing about. No alien goo. No, oh, well, it's kind of lava.
No.
A Vulcan literally says, oh, that is a volcano.
And then lava comes out. I know. I'm so surprised. I'm so shocked.
I wish we did do that bit of the live show first, so people would actually lose their shit and believe you, because it's tricky. But
but we're watching the show a week old, so technically somebody could say that I'd already watched it.
I suppose. Yeah,
somebody's always going to be hating on the truth. That person. You don't have to know the truth. Just enjoy the funness of it. And the funness
Accept the universe
/ realness is that I guess lava, and that's all that matters. Does it matter that Boimler died? No.
No.
Does it matter that we see the koala?
1 week streak.
No.
Yes, it does.
No. Yes. Does it matter that Boimler is learning how to lead in his panic? No. Does it matter that hazing is a Starfleet thing? No. What matters is that your podcast host guessed that lava was going to be in the episode and was correct.
Yep. Let's do your other prediction, which was your general prediction. Was that because we're in the cradle of Vexilon, there will be babies and specifically a birth canal.
Okay, so...
Didn't quite happen.
And we're all better for it.
Seriously, yeah. We had enough of that in Picard Season 3. Because that was your logic, wasn't it?
It was a potential rebirth of a planet-ish. That's a stretch. No, that's a stretch.
There's no birth canal in here. I mean, the ring that goes around the solar system. It's
very canally.
Yeah, canally, and it does create life and support life. So, but no, we're not going to give you that one, I'm afraid.
Okay.
Anything you want to add to the synopsis before I take over?
No, I think I would say that we're visiting a planet that's run by a computer. Would probably be one of the big things that I missed in my silliness.
So, overall thoughts and feelings on the episode, Deneé.
Oh. Yeah, I was supposed to pay attention to the episode in its entirety. Yeah, I liked it. I think it was a fun episode because we got to go to a planet, some shenanigans happen, and then there's stuff. It was a little bit worried at the beginning because this episode opens up with the not our usual lower decks crew. It's like the top tier crew. What do you usually call them?
The senior crew.
Senior staff.
Senior officers. Yeah, senior staff.
So I was a little nervous that it was going to be like more about them. And, but of course we get to come into play and we're talking about our crew, moving up in the rank a bit. So I thought this was a good episode because it's introducing that, both the silly hazing part, which we're not really sure. Yes, no, it could be hazing. And then also the actual like mission part, which is it a real mission? Yes, no, maybe. What did you think about the hazing thing? Did you know that it was hazing from the very start?
Oh, no, not at all. That's a big old double bluff thing. It's not like something... I was kind of siding with Tendi because we haven't really seen this hazing. Like, we haven't really seen Riker or anyone else kind of bully or take the mickey out of any new like crew members. Like, Reg would get bullied a little bit accidentally almost. And Riker was very harsh with the up and coming ranks, but there wasn't really any hazing. So I was fully ready to believe Tendi and then believe the lieutenant that's doing the hazing. And then it all comes around full circle for the Type 5 at the end, which was, it was really well done. I really, really liked it. Like it actually kept me guessing, which I didn't expect.
Yeah. I didn't know for sure, but certainly when the actual person in charge, and I can't remember his name either, but the one that's like giving the mission to Tendi and Rutherford,
Lieutenant No Name,
and Mariner. I when he was talking us very specifically about having like basically PTSD about the game that they end up using as a trap in his room to get him back for hazing.
Yeah,
I thought that's a little too on the nose.
That's
and
convenient.
That was sort of the only reason that I was leaning that it was a hazing, but they played it off really well to make it feel like it was for a good reason. And they did end up finding a bad chip. So that was also...
It's weird how both things were true. They were getting hazed, but also there was actually something to find as well. So it may have been that there was an easier way to find this chip, but he deliberately made them do it the long way.
Probably.
But yeah, overall, I really, really enjoyed this episode. I loved it. It was quite light on the references, and I think it just told the story it was trying to tell really, really well, and was really fun and funny. Like, this is something I understand Boimler struggling with. Like, this isn't his regular self-doubt or second-guessing himself. This is, I'm now in a position of power over people that I was working with last week, and changing that dynamic and shifting from doing all of the work yourself to delegating to a team. It's a big struggle. So I love that we tackled something that made sense with Boimler and wasn't just the same old thing. Same with Mariner. Like, she didn't have much to deal with. She was just there this week, which is really... It's fun to just see the characters be themselves without actually needing to overcome something this week.
Boimler was really fun for me in this episode for a couple of reasons. He was textbook Boimler, and then he was over trying, but usually he's over trying to impress somebody. And this time he's over trying while he's already been promoted. And so now he's over trying to be the right way promoted. And I felt like it was really true to his character.
Super on brand for him. Yeah.
And there's a moment when it cuts over to like, how do you think it's going with Boimler? And Mariner says something about him being sweaty. And then the next time, we see as his mission is progressing or digressing, depending on your opinion, he is so sweaty. He's like uncomfortably, uncomfortably soaked and getting more and more stressful. Yes. And I did like that the person that he was working with, what's her name? Talin, maybe?
Talin? Oh, you've said her name, which means I'm not going to remember it.
Well, you're welcome for fucking you up. But this character, she's the Vulcan, and she's, the very almost robotic sounding kind of Vulcan. She is there to guide him, but in a way where through logic she both validates his promotion and questions his authority. So that was really clever as well.
Yeah, it's very Vulcan.
The very end, when she kind of pushes Boimler to be more open to having help, and then at the end pushes the crew to obey the leadership. And so I thought that was a really interesting delineation of where the lines are for when someone's willing to put themselves in danger, and when it's like you can join them in the danger, and when you're like, nope, this is for the leadership to do. Like, we're going to send that guy in to die, nobody else.
It's really, really clever how it's not, like you said, it's not just about follow orders, and it's not just about we're all in this together. Like, there's loads of times where you could disobey the captain's orders, but that's a really good example of where them being there doesn't make sense, because it's not like you need somebody at every station for the
No.
best chance of success. This is one man that needs to press a button. So that's the time when the leader should step in, take over, and kick everyone out. And man, Tallinn is such a great addition because she's an outsider that's coming in. She's clearly got more experience than the lower deckers. We don't have to wonder why is this person an ensign or at the same level as these people when she's clearly so far beyond them. So she's a great little mentor that doesn't have to be one of the senior crew. Yeah, she's really serving a good function, I think.
Yeah. And of course, this had some good humor for me too. So like the big beats of this are the captain is resetting the system program, or she wasn't trying to reset it. The captain is attempting to install an upgrade on this very, very old computer system that's been managing this ancient sort of structure that it's...
Yeah, it's a megastructure that's built around a sun. It's like a single band of a Dyson sphere instead of an entire sphere. It's a really cool sci-fi concept.
Yeah, so they have that kind of going on, and that, of course, goes wrong, and the planet or the ring essentially begins to have issues, including like resetting to the beginning of time where we're releasing bacteria or what? I don't remember what they said, that there was something that's going to be released into the atmosphere.
Primordial bacteria.
Yeah. And then you've got like the volcano that shows up. So you have this sort of disaster, and how it interplays with Boimler's mission is they're going to go like upgrade some machines. What were they called? It was do you know what it was called?
I didn't make a note of what it was called. It was just generic tech thing that they need to replace. Some kind of energy cells.
Yeah, I wish I could remember what it was called. I didn't write it down either. But Boimler's removing them, and then the twist is that they actually have to put them back. So that's kind of the fun sort of bit there. So that's all happening.
Boimler's gone through all of this stress to remove them and break his back. And he's like, cool, I'll just undo all of the work that I just did. That's fine.
Yeah, which is fun. It's fun to see Boimler panic. And then on the ship, you've got the boring hazing task of scanning chips mixed with the shenanigans of them setting up a trap that then Rutherford gets stuck in and has to go through himself, which I assume is a reference that you recognize. Mm-hmm. So that's one I don't recognize. How did you feel about that? I know you love the references of this show, so I figure you liked it.
Well, so they go into this artifact room, and this is where they find a variety of things. And I kind of loved that the artifact room was really restrained. There wasn't a ton of things in there. It was all stuff that they were like, we found it on our adventures. So it's not just like, hey, why would the Cerritos have found this very specific TNG thing? This is all stuff that they've stumbled across on their missions. And there was 3 really big ones. So one of them is the silver box with the face in it that's saying, hi, everyone. And
that was called the Betazoid gift box.
Was sent to Deanna, and it was holding basically a wedding gift in it. And it was kind of initiating her arranged marriage. So there's a whole episode about an arranged marriage that Deanna has to tackle as her mother arrives on the ship as well. And it's just this weird, it looks exactly like it does in Lower Decks, but it's a real human's face that's pressing out of this, and the eyes just open, and it's super creepy, and it's like, I have a gift for Deanna of Beta Z. And there was always the question of, is that a living thing or is it a recorded message? So I love that Lower Decks actually answers that and says, no, it just kind of repeats what you say to it.
And then true to Lower Decks beat fashion, it just starts cursing.
I love it. Eat a bag of pork dicks, motherfuckers. And like, that would have been funny on its own. But then Tendy's like, I guess Tana passed through here. It's so funny. I love that so much. The other thing we've got is the puzzle box thing that sends you to an alternate dimension.
Yeah, this was interesting. Yeah. Essentially, you get sucked inside of it, and until you beat it, you're there for a really long time.
So Lower Decks does the puzzle a lot better than Deep Space Nine did. So this is a very, very early episode of Deep Space Nine. One of the first creatures, one of the first aliens that they come into contact with from the Gamma Quadrant on the other side of the wormhole, they're doing some trading, and they trade this box, and the crew gets sucked into this box, and the aliens think, ha ha ha, this is a great idea, but none of the crew are happy about this because they're stuck in a game and they don't want to play. And the episode is called Move Along Home. And it's just one of those notorious kind of like Sub Rosa sex scandal episodes where nothing naughty or sexy happens, but it's just notoriously a bit shit. And they all have to sing this song and they do this weird dance and the puzzles are a bit shit. And none of the characters really knew who they were yet. So they were all interacting strangely. So they had this great concept, but we don't know who any of these people are yet. So the concept just kind of overrules what everyone else is doing. So yeah, it's a really weird episode, which is why Rutherford is so like eye-rolly about it. And the lieutenant is like, I was traumatized by it. It's kind of reflecting on the fan trauma that's come out of this episode. It's notoriously a bit shit.
I honed in on Tendi as she started to do the weird dance thing and like sing a weird tune.
Yeah. And Anna Meringue, count to 4. Anna Meringue, count to 3. Oh, it's so cringy.
Okay, so that's why the chat's been saying lemon meringue, I suppose.
Yeah, lemon meringue, because Mariner is fucking up all of the words. Count to 4.
I love it. Yeah. I love it.
So the third artifact that's part of that trap was an artifact that I completely missed until they explained what it was at the end. And I was so happy they did. So when Rutherford goes through the trap, when he comes out of it...
Like all this time had passed.
Yeah, a bit of time had passed, but the person in like the silver box gets zapped by something else. And then says, what happened? What went wrong? I miss my wife. Like, I miss my other life. And that probe is from an episode called The Inner Light. And Picard gets zapped by this probe, lives an entire lifetime, like 50 years, has a family, has grandchildren, and it all takes place in the space of a few minutes. So then he comes back out of the probe and is like, whoa, I just lived an entire life. What the hell just happened? So it's a little nod to the Inner Light probe, which was it's really great that in the space of a couple of seconds.
I thought that it was part of the game. So it was a separate thing. I see.
It's so quick, completely separate. And you would miss it unless you knew what that was.
So Rutherford, Tendi, and Mariner set up a series of traps that would trap the Mr. Broccoli, whatever his name was, in a game and in an eternal lifetime loop. That was their solution to get back at him for hazing?
Okay. That the last bit, like if you when he gets out of the trap, he then gets zapped by the Inner Light probe and lives an entire life inside of the probe. Like that's not hazing, and I think that's the point. This is brutal. You get out of the puzzle box and then live 70 years as an alien.
My God. I mean, what a way to punish somebody for doing a hazing when you're not sure that you're being hazed. Although they were right that they were being hazed, but still.
They were right for the wrong reasons.
Oh
and
my
even
gosh.
so, the result is wrong. So I love the reference. I think the references in this episode are done really, really well. Like they work on their own, even if you don't have the context, which is fun. But
okay, so I didn't have context about that. And I also feel like I'm missing context about the ferret.
No. We just know that Billups has a ferret now and it escaped.
This is the first time that there's been a ferret?
Yeah, this is one of the problems with Lower Decks is that you end up second guessing what's a reference and what isn't.
No, I honestly love that they just so boldly made a ferret a thing without... Because I figured since I missed basically all of season 2 and 3 and all of season 1... Wait, I don't remember which ones I watched. I missed a ton. I thought that there was like a ferret that I just didn't know about.
No. I mean, unless I forgot it, Lancelot the Ferret is brand new.
Honestly, that makes me respect the show even more. Not gonna lie, because it didn't need to have a ferret reference to set up the ferret situation.
Of course not.
Did we know that Rutherford is afraid of ferrets?
No, I mean, who isn't? I think that's just the default.
I'm afraid of ferrets.
Have you ever had a ferret crawl on you?
Not yet.
Then you will be.
You're afraid of ferrets?
No, but I can imagine what it feels like to have a ferret suddenly run on me.
Wouldn't it be just kind of like a cat?
Like, nibbly. No, ferrets are way more like squiggly than cats. They're like snakes, but with fur.
They're not like snakes.
They are noodles.
They're
ferrets
not.
Ferrets have no bones. They are just noodles.
That's first of all, adorable to think about, but second and maybe more important, not true.
Watch ferret videos. Honestly, they are limp noodles. They have no bones. They are pure gelatin. Facts here on Captain's Pod.
Here's what I know about ferrets. Most people remove a gland out of the ferret because they have a pungent odor. I know that.
Yes, that makes sense.
2, they're very curious creatures, and one of the things you have to be careful about with ferrets is that they will get lost in your house and probably die because they're like get stuck somewhere or
because they're made of noodles
on, or
and
something like unexpected
in the wall.
Yeah, those are the things that I remember learning about ferrets because I wanted one really badly for a time. And I'm an adult. I know fish aren't for me, but do I know ferrets aren't for me? Stay tuned. I have an empty fish tank. I can just
I don't think
put a little ferret habitat in there.
Yeah, I don't think you understand how ferrets work.
No, I don't. This is part of the process of me learning. But I did see little ferrets, and they have these little hammocks that they go in, and they just like spoon up and they curl up a little. There's like this little pile of like fluff.
Noodles. Yeah, noodle fluff. You have to get 2 ferrets. You can't just have 1 ferret on their own. So yeah, the references really worked for me. I loved it. Back to the A plot, the main plot of the episode. I love the metaphor, it's not really a metaphor, it's kind of exactly what it is, of how software updates have all fucked us at some point by way of just like either being automated, doing too much work. Like this inbuilt obsolescence of our technology is great, but when you keep doing these software updates, it ends up slowing it down because they take up more memory. The reboot does something funky to all of your settings. We've all had the pain of updating to Windows whatever, and it's changed a bunch of settings that you were comfortable with, and then it fucks everything. So I love this little exploration of that in this world computer thing, because everybody keeps saying, oh, is it subjugating the people? Is it oppressing all of the citizens? Because in all of the previous episodes, like TOS has Landru, there's loads of times whenever you have a supercomputer that helps manage your world, it ends up wanting to be a dictator and kill everyone or enslave them. So it's funny that everybody keeps referencing that. But the real problem is that its software is out of date.
Yeah.
I kind of love that.
I did
too.
It's
21st
like
century issue.
That's sort of like ancient hardware, the software problems that feel very much today, which we are ancient by Starfleet standards, I suppose.
We are. It's kind of like them finding a phone and trying to update it with LCARs. It would just completely crash.
I do have a question about the anomaly room before we go on to our sins at some point.
Go for it.
But before I do that, I wanted to say that one of the other things I really liked about this, that kind of one of the humor bits that made me laugh, was when Boimler goes onto his comm badge and it does a feedback loop. I really thought that was funny.
I'm amazed that doesn't happen more often. It's so great. And I love how quickly Talin just like snips it. She's just like, it works. Don't worry.
Yeah, that was good stuff.
When she's finished doing his pep talk and he runs back to them and says, it's time for me to get you all into trouble, or it's time for me to put your lives in danger. And she was like, that is not how I would phrase the lesson.
That's not the lesson. Yeah.
That's not what I would say.
Yeah. My question about the anomaly storage room. So what was said specifically about it is that it's anything that requires further study or to be returned to its previous entity. That's so lower decks. We need to have an episode of them delivering back all these items to where they belong.
Second Contact, like that kind of is a great mission. That would be a great like entire season. It would be like the 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo. Like it would be like 10 episodes, 10 artifacts, and just returning them all to their species. I kind of love that.
I was really curious because it wasn't like they were saying this needs further study. It was or returned. So it's like you're carrying someone else's stuff around with you that needs to be brought back.
At some point when you're next in the neighborhood, I guess.
Yeah, how does that work? That just opened up this question about archiving things in Starfleet, that they must just have this massive place where they're storing things for someone to come and pick up, kind of like a space lost and found. But
we've now discovered that every ship has its own Indiana Jones warehouse.
Yeah.
Because at the end of Indiana Jones, like it's the first or third one, something like that. The artifact gets taken to this big warehouse, and you're like, what the hell is in all of these boxes? And every single ship on the fleet has one.
Yup. So everyone's got a storage room that has one or two items, and this is really where it's going to shift into my sins. So I guess we can go there unless you want to talk about jazz.
I kind of, it's really weird that Mariner says I'm really not into jazz, as if that's been like a comment that's thrown around. And then I thought about it and I was like, you know what? If I did have to make an assumption, I bet that Mariner would be into jazz because she's all like kind of freeform and do what I want. And that's very much what jazz is as well. But I almost like, I hope it's a reaction to some comment that I've missed on Twitter. And Mike McMahon is like, no, she hates fucking jazz. Jazz is bullshit. She's actually into like metal or whatever. But no, I love that she takes one for the team and keeps pretending to be interested in the sloppy jazz music.
I did notice
it's wet. I like it.
that in an exchange when she's trying to distract the guy from going back to his quarters. I really, really enjoyed when she like turns around. She's like, "Fix it," like fix the problem. I'm gonna distract this guy, and then it's just intercutting with whatever random conversation she's begrudgingly holding, which was really, really fun. I don't know anything about the character.
I think we know more about him than we do Billups now. We know that he's into moist jazz.
Moist.
Yep, and that he's into hazing.
Okay.
I do love
ferrets.
And well, it's not his ferret though. Billups has the ferret.
Oh, it's Billups' ferret. Right.
Yeah. Lieutenant No Name was helping him catch the ferret. I do love how that gag ends with, I'm supposed to go to Dr. Migley-Moo's office. And then Rutherford just collapses and we get the thumbs up. I'm good.
Did it.
I'm fine.
I'm good. We're doing good. Yeah. There's a lot of really nice beats in this episode.
There's so many. I've got two more one-liners that just made me just collapse, and it was when Talin is like, that appears to be a mountain or a volcano, and then it explodes and she's like, it is a volcano.
Yeah.
So matter of fact, I love it. And just to Anna coming in at the end, just like the vague, we don't know what they did to bring Boimler back. It doesn't really matter because that's the inconsequential bit at the end of the episode where Beverly, Bashir, the holographic doctor will do something, and it will be 10 cc's of anestazine or some cortical stimulator, like something that's gibberish that we don't need. We just need to know that they're brought back to life. So we get this really just the really fun line from Tana, just like, give me 30 cc's
whatever that was that worked.
Just worked a minute ago. I love it. But that does lead us to, and I love this so much, the fucking space koala turning up in what I love about it the most is how little information we get. Boimler wakes up in a room, in a chair, the space koala is there, it makes a noise and then he wakes up. It's brilliant. I love it.
I thought what was interesting is he's like in this room. It looks very like a normal room. Outside appears to be some sort of space volcano looking thing again, or some kind of a mountain. It went by pretty fast because I was also looking at the koala, and then focuses on the koala, reflecting in the koala's eyes is Boimler's face, and it's saying words to him we don't understand. I was really distracted by the koala teeth, which I don't usually pay attention to koala teeth. But now I want to go look up what a koala tooth, like what they look like, because I'm sure it's accurate, but it was very vampire-y.
I imagine they're kind of like more grindy, because aren't they vegetarians? I imagine they're all like molars.
Will you look it up while I I want to know. I'm just kind of curious. Koala teeth. Hopefully it's not something that terrifies you too much.
I hope it's not a sex
But what was really interesting, it for me was that when Boimler wakes up, he's like, get it off of me, which we didn't see happening. So in the seconds between Boimler making eye contact with the koala and then us seeing Boimler come back to life, it seems like the koala jumped on him. And I was really curious.
Oh, that would be interesting. So I'm guessing that it's like some kind of interdimensional alien being that acts in limbo and like looks after people that are on the edge of death. because you do die so often in Star Trek. Like one of the early TNG episodes, I think it's Code of Honor actually. They're talking, Picard and Beverly make a plan based on the knowledge that they can bring people back from the dead. So they're just like, this plan will work because as long as she's only dead for a few minutes, we can bring her back. And it's like Code Blue or something like that. So they're well aware that the heart can stop, the brain can be dead, and they have a window of like 10 to 15 minutes where that's not a big deal. You can bring them back. So I kind of love that we're addressing that. And maybe the space koala is part of addressing that part of Star Trek.
I would be happy to speculate. We should do an entire episode where we just talk about space koala and all the things it could be.
Really should. We could easily do that. Oh, I did actually listen to the full opening credits this week because we didn't have a cold open. It just went straight into the opening credits.
Yeah.
Which usually tells me that they don't want to waste any time. Like, they don't want to waste a few minutes on, like, an opening gag. They want to spend that entire time on the story. So I'm usually geared to, this might be a more important episode because we're dedicating a few extra minutes to it. So I listened through to all of the credits so that I could listen out for the whale song in the battle with the Borg because I missed it. And it does have the same whale song from Star Trek 4 because it sounds like all distorted because it's in space. And I was like, oh, it's nostalgia. I love that sound so much. It's just awesome. It's so fun to bring back sound effects and stuff like that. It gets me right in my happy places.
Yeah. I've really enjoyed the different sound effects, specifically when we were watching Strange New Worlds, because it's such an immersive difference. And you don't realize the difference between show to show in a way until you're really like, the music is different, obviously, but then some of the sounds of the different equipment is different. So when Strange New Worlds was playing TOS sounds, it was like a really interesting, an interesting experience. So
whenever on Sundays, I'll usually rewatch an episode. I'll visit my parents and I'll usually rewatch an episode of TOS with my dad while mum's like making us dinner or something. And the thing that always stands out to me is if we ever watch some of those episodes, which I'm sure we will, how you will be so distracted by the noises because there isn't a silent scene. Like, the Foley artist just went overtime. They're having like a really mundane, regular ass conversation on the bridge, and around them is just beep, 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 just panels and buttons and lights just going off all the time. And it's such a noisy bridge, and I love it. It's so good. Bring back the noisy bridge.
Someday I might actually watch it.
I think after Lower Deck Season 4, I think we'll be doing some stuff. So, with that, anything else before we go do some sinning?
Nope.
Red alert, battle stations, everyone!
Warning, warp core collapse in 10 seconds.
This is the part of the show where we re-engage our sin brains, remind ourselves that no TV shows without sin, even our beloved Star Trek. Hit it.
Oh, not that button. Sorry. When you said hit it, I just wasn't quite sure.
No, you just ejected the crew.
I'm going to send
you ejected the nursery.
2 parts of the show at the same time because they both have to deal with organization. One is that the anomaly storage room should be sectioned into 2 halves, things that need to be returned and things that require further study. But instead, it looked like just a storage room that you would see in an office or something, where you open it up and you're just going through boxes to find an extra set of pens or post-it notes. It was so haphazard. And for things that appeared to be very dangerous, everyone on the burrito should be dead. You know, that's just what it means.
I love how similarly our brains think sometimes. We're very different in a lot of ways, but there are some ways that we overlap scarily. My very first sin was, it is a mess in here. This is not organized. I don't know what kind of filing system they're using. And it has the classic anomaly, treasure room sin, where instead of being in the walls and organized and locked away, there's just enough sprinkled around because we have to have some Easter eggs. So they should all be locked down. You shouldn't be able to accidentally touch anything. But us as the viewer, we need to see the Easter eggs and our eyes need to go to places. If it's a room filled with brown boxes, it's far less interesting. So yeah, we would both sin the organizational mess. And
it was so dangerous in there.
Cliche treasure room.
It was so dangerous in there.
especially the inner light probe, which is just fucking like touch it and you've lost 70 years or gained. I suppose you've gained 70 years, but you spend the first like chunk of that knowing who you are and knowing that you're not supposed to be there. It's not like you take their place. You take their place, but mentally you're still you. So it's terrifying. Eventually you just give up and live that person's life.
I don't like it.
No, don't like it. My other sin with the inner light probe was just how did they get one? Because it must be similar technology but different, because they only found the one probe, and the idea was that this species knew that their sun was going to go supernova, but they had no way of escaping it. So they made this probe that would force somebody to live among them, and that would carry on the memory of their species. So I'm kind of thinking they sent out more than one probe and just lots of people are getting fucked with, and the Starfleet managed to find 2 of them.
There you go. My other sin was about organization. Has to do with how Ransom and what can I think of it? No, not Ransom. Sorry, all their names are always getting
Rutherford.
Yes, Rutherford and Tendi and Mariner.
Mm-hmm.
Their organizational way of going about scanning chips was immediately triggering to me. I was so frustrated because Rutherford just walks over to the middle and just starts pulling them out, and Tendi. And I kept thinking, no, they've got a plan. They've talked about it. It's fine. That is not how you do it.
But they have. No.
One person starts on the far left at the far upper left and works their way all the way across. Somebody else starts at the bottom right and works right to left all the way across. You meet in the middle. The one who knows what the third person is doing, double checking that I don't know, but there's 3 of them. So then maybe you divvied up into equal thirds. Like you have to have a system, because it was just chaos and it really bothered me.
What you don't do is
just walk
immediately not have a plan and just start scanning in the middle.
Oh my
random.
God.
Blah, blah, blah,
and
blah,
then
blah.
it got worse when Tendi goes in solo, and I'm just like, you're everywhere. You're everywhere.
I mean, the way I would do it, like I would probably take them all out, scan them, put them back. So then I know my pile on the right is the stuff I haven't done yet, and then the pile in the wall is the stuff that I have done. Because I've done organizational shit like that before.
Me too.
And having to start again is infuriating.
It was bad. It is, and it's just such a waste. It's such a waste of time.
They should be doing all of that in silence, because you need to concentrate. It's really important.
It was really bad. Anyway, there's 2 big organizational issues in this episode, and that's them. So
you can tell that the people that wrote this show haven't had to work in retail or in some kind of secretarial capacity at any point.
Or they do know, and they're just absolutely triggering us.
Deliberately.
Yes.
I love it. This was actually my biggest sin of the episode, I think. And we moved on from it pretty quick, which was a relief. But there's been a few episodes now where we've made Boimler dumber than he actually should be in order to exposit to the audience. So T'Lyn is explaining how these energy coils work, and they have to be replaced in a certain way because they're extremely volatile and could explode at any second.
Which Boimler seems surprised of.
This is a shock to Boimler. But then
he immediately is like, guys, this is bad. This is dangerous. It's like, well, which one is it, bud? Was it just casual?
Well, and then he shows them exactly how to unlatch them. So he knows in detail, other than this really big thing that ends up being shocking to him. And I was just like the only explanation for that is that we want him to be dumb so that T'Lyn can explain how dangerous this is. And for me, like those jokes, it's not worth it for me, because the shock of Boimler saying, oh, everything will be fine, this isn't a big deal, and then T'Lyn explaining how much of a big deal it is, that breaks me a little bit. So yeah, that's a genuine sin I would stick in there.
Yeah, I kind of had that one too. He went from just swapping out some terminals to this is super dangerous, like really, really fast. And
super duper quick.
Also in that same scene, he's like, and then you've got to keep it upright. It's really important you keep it upright. But then you go to the next scene and he's holding like an armful of them, and they're almost all on their sides, and nothing really, seemed to be too dangerous about that at all. So
during the pep talk, he has 4 of them laying down on their side.
They're on their sides. And then my final sin, it's all about this, apparently. My final sin is that when it's like the time for them to turn the terminal back on, he's like, okay, 1, 2, 3. And then they all shift it at the same time. but it's weird because there's only 4 or 5 of them and there was more coils. So not all the coils are being manned and turned at the same time. So it just kind of confused me as to what the pressure was when the show itself was undoing its own pressure. But at the same time, I enjoyed it. So.
Mm-hmm. And I don't fully understand why the room exploded. I guess, I think it's because, they were faulty.
Overload, they were old.
Supposed to be, they weren't supposed to be handling that amount of power.
Huh.
I don't know. I still don't know why they couldn't get a long stick and press the button from outside. I don't know why Boimler had to die.
Because we wanted to see him die.
Button. But that does lean into one of my sins, which was, I don't know if you're going to agree with this or not. I kind of need one of the ensigns to die.
This is your sin?
Yeah. I think it would have made, and I think lower decks could do this. The lesson, it kind of would have been perfect because Tallinn is the life-death expectancy of a new lieutenant. There's going to be injuries and stuff because you're brand new and you're new to away missions and there's going to be injuries. I think somebody should have lost a limb, a leg, or actually died to prove that point to Boimler.
But he did die.
Yeah, but he came back. I think if you'd have made that permanent, maybe not killed them, but maybe they lost a couple legs. I think it would have hit home to Boimler that he did everything right. And yeah, that's a genuine consequence of these missions, is that it can be dangerous. That's a lesson he has to learn at some point. I kind of think that would have been cool. Nope, you disagree?
I don't know. I don't know. Would it have made a difference? What would Boimler have learned then?
It's part of command. You have to be okay with it. It doesn't mean that you're careless. It doesn't mean that you risk people willy-nilly, but you got to get used to death and dismemberment. The lesson that Kirk never learned. He never faced the no-win scenario.
I mean, just go see people be dismembered, I guess, in the holodeck, and I don't know.
Oh, that's not the same. That's not. Who gives a shit about the holodeck?
I just if you're saying that he needs to learn about permanence, where in a world where you can be brought back so much, I think that'd be a hard lesson for anyone to really have in Starfleet, because the permanence of death doesn't happen very much unless the plot needs it to happen.
That can Pike, that can make you complacent. Do you second guess things and take more risks because you know that you can be brought back, and then that makes you take that one extra risk.
Yeah. Interesting.
Anyway, I think it would be interesting anyway, and I hope it's something that he eventually has to deal with. I wish trauma on this character that I love. Your turn, Ambassador.
I don't have any more.
What else did I have? Oh, I did. So there were 2 that was really freaking annoying because Lower Decks undid them, and one of them it undid before I even reached for my keyboard, and the other one it took the entire episode to undo. So it just grr. The first one it undid was as soon as Captain, why can I never remember her name?
Captain Mariner's mom?
Captain Mariner's mom is doing the repairs. And I was just wait, you have engineers? And Ransom just we have engineers?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm damn it, Ransom.
And she's I want to do this. Let me have this.
I'm still sinning it. I'm still sinning that the captain, who just conveniently happens to have a degree in old shitty computers, is doing all of this work and then only calls Billups down when it's an emergency. And I guess it's a reference to, it's always the command crew that happens to be able to do things because they're the people that we want to see on screen. So Captain Picard will end up piloting the ship when there's no reason for Picard to be piloting the ship. You have minions to do that. And Riker will have an advanced degree in warp core pneumatics because the plot needs him to have specialized in that, even though they have engineers. You can have a no-name engineer do it. So I guess it's kind of a reference to that, but I'm glad they do eventually bring in Billups. The other one was, I think we mentioned it earlier, it was convenient that the lieutenant had the trauma of that game, and then that just happened to be the game that they used to set up the trap, but it was deliberate all along. So I'm damn it, you are so hard to sin. Will you stop being so bloody self-aware?
No, I love that it's like that. It's so much fun to watch it.
I mean, I love it. It's fun. I don't actually want it to stop. I think it's excellent. Well, loved that episode. Anything else, Ambassador, before we move along home?
No. I'm gonna go ahead and I have my quote ready. I'm ready when you are.
You got your quote ready?
I'm
amazing.
Ready.
Well, If you have anything you want to talk to us about, send us a message, because I'm going to get all of this right. It's at CaptainsPodCS on Twitter. It is CaptainsPod@CinemaSins.com. The ambassador would specifically like questions that have nothing to do with Star Trek. And you can catch us next week live on the CSPN channel on YouTube and on twitch.tv/CinemaSins live at 12:30 CST. Who knows? We may play some more Minecraft before or after. But until then, thank you for listening. We'll see you next week. And I'm here to remind you that everything that has ever occurred is science stuff.
And I just want you guys to know that I am working on completing my confidence boosting ritual.
Live long and Podsper.
Thanks for listening. Want to connect with the show? Our hailing frequencies are always open through CaptainsPod@CinemaSins.com. Like, comment, and subscribe on your podcast player of choice, and be sure to visit CinemaSins.com.
Push the buttons. Push them in the right order. Things will happen. Turderp. I want to like instantly make this really intricate thing, and then I want to like layer my voice and then just like do the
Yes.
and then like do and it's like you know, can you hear it?
What's
going to
be in the background of all of that? Can you get like a
something like that, like something really like off-putting and makes you feel uncomfortable, like maybe you have to have a bowel movement at like a party or something?
You've given me everything I need to do it. You've now made this edit twice as long, and it will be worth it. Listen out for the end of the outtakes for that.
Holy shit! Guess what?
What?
This is either a really bad thing or a pretty okay thing.
That's the spectrum.
Well, there's also like super great, right? And
No,
it's not quite
nothing-
super great.
Nothing is that great.
I have a cat.
Wait, what? Permanently?
Nope. No.
Okay.
I get to share the neighbor's cat, which you've met.
Oh, that's so... Wait, what? How does that work? That was like an... Oh, oh, wait a minute.
It's like the best of all worlds, right? Where we get to have a cat, but it's not my cat.
You don't have to do any of the vet bills, the insurance, the feeding. Right. You just do the treats.
Oh, hold on. The feeding, maybe.
How do you come up with an arrangement like this? Because I know cats tend to share people, but that's just going door to door and getting fed. Do you have an actual arrangement with the owner?
Nope.
Oh no,
just
so this is just a cat thing then. Yeah, this isn't special.
It is special. Don't downplay this for me.
This is how every cat acts. My mum has 4 cats by this definition.
Yeah, she does.
She does. My friend uses my mum as a case study example because she's a veterinary nurse, and she uses this to owners if their cats are struggling to lose weight. And she's like, I know this person called Ian's mum, and cats come to her door every single day in order to a feeding window, and she feeds them. And it's
really
like
does.
fucking clockwork. And
She
these
has
cats,
a feeding window. I've seen it.
she does. They go, meow, and she opens the window. She acts like it's a chore. And I'm like, Mum, you're choosing. They're not paying you for this service. You can stop.
My favorite part of watching her was her feigned surprise.
Yeah.
When she was like, I don't know why they keep coming back. And she's literally holding a little thing of like delicious chicken. I have met the neighbor, and I did tell her that we've now had the cat over multiple times and fed him tuna.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. In the house or just like in the garden?
Technically, the garage is in the house, right?
No, that's still your yard.
Okay.
Because I just know that the dogs would not react well to this cat, which is why I asked the question.
They're really frustrated. They're genuinely frustrated puppies at this point, which is understandable. I get it. I get it.
They don't get fresh meat.
Yes, they do.
Well, yeah, but only when they steal it.
Iris and I named the cat Snow Shadow, because it's a white cat with a dark spot and like a solid tabby dark
I know this cat.
thick tail. Yeah, you've met the cat. In fact, you taught Iris how to be with cats with this cat.
I did. I imparted wisdom.
You did, and it was wonderful wisdom. And this is a great cat. Really, really chill, super kind. Anyway, what I learned about this cat, true name, Thunderstorm.
Oh.
First of all.
Wait a minute.
So Snow Shadow is much better, in my opinion.
No, Thunderstorm is an incredible name for a cat. I thought it was going to be like Mipsy or something. Like
Mopsy.
When you name a cat and you let like a 6-year-old or 5-year-old do it, it always comes out as like Thunderchild or Storm Shadow or something like that. The actual name is always a letdown. But not this occasion.
I thought maybe you would think it was lame. I think it's cool.
It's a stupid name, but it's really cool. We've domesticated a lot of animals, but cats are at a point where they have genuinely now domesticated us. Like, if a cat is even halfway intelligent, it has like 5 different owners, and it will do a tour of the place and get fed and get warmth and have a routine. I really believe that they're nomadic once you let them go outside.
Yeah, that happened with my aunt's cat as well. Of course, she couldn't figure out why he wasn't eating and took him to the vet. And she's like, he's super healthy. Are you sure he's not visiting neighbors? And then she went on a neighbor tour and found out that her cat named Fizbin.
Yeah, good name.
Was going in, and he would nap at one neighbor's house in their window. And then he would go to the next neighbor's house when the kids got home from school, and he'd meet their children. And he just kind of went around.
That's amazing.
And he was a very, very happy cat. Fizbin Fistandantulus Floxter the Fourth, I think was his name.
That's a beautiful name. Data gets confused in an episode. I don't know if this is one that we've seen, but he's trying to explain to Geordie why he can't train his cat Spot. And he's like, maybe Spot just isn't intelligent enough. Maybe cats' brains just aren't trainable. And in the next sentence, in like the only way TNG can, Spot meows at the replicator, and then Data like makes some food, and then Spot meows at his toy, and Data goes over and starts playing with the toy, and Geordie's just like, I don't know, your training's coming along fine.
Oh my god, that's so perfect.
It's so great. And then Data just like drops the toy and is like, stop it. The problem is cats are too smart to be trained.
They're really, really
They're
smart.
extremely intelligent.
The fish is buried.
You did it. The fish is down. I can finally edit this saga together and release it as a feature-length movie.
It finally happened.
How did it go?
Really interesting timing, because we had grandmother's funeral.
Yeah.
And then the burial of the fish. So I feel like...
Oh, you did, didn't you? You buried the fish with your grandma. You said you were going to do it. Okay.
I didn't. I did not put the frozen fish into the casket. That did not happen. Hey, when we beam into the next place, can you like let them know to just remove the headache that I have?
Uh-huh. You know, that's like one of those unintended consequences of wishes. So you like get 3 wishes from a genie, and then you wish for world peace, and they just make everybody die. And that's technically how you get world peace. I imagine you wishing for that, and then Dr. Ta'ana, the cat doctor, comes in with like a dish that has your brain in it. I was like, well, we've removed the headache.
Your headache is gone.
Your body just materializes and collapses.
You wanted to feel buoyant instead of heavy, so we've got you floating in goop.
Captain's Pod, stardate 822920. You ready?
I'm ready.
Your face did not look ready.
I wasn't ready.
You look shocked.
I'm ready.
Anything you want to add to the synopsis before I take over?
No, I think I would say that we're visiting a planet that's run by a computer. Would probably be one of the big things that I missed in my silliness. So, and now is the part where Ian's headphones have died and he has to replace the batteries, and he's looking quite shameful about it because he didn't think about this ahead of time and he can't hear anything that I have to say right now, and it's really tempting to. And that's basically all that I remember from the episode. What do you think about all that?
Great synopsis. Really. I was trying to do it so quick and it didn't work. But until then, thank you for listening. We'll see you next week. And I would just like to remind you that I've lost my quote.
Womp, 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 womp. Like something like that, like something really like off-putting and makes you feel uncomfortable, like maybe you have to have a bowel movement at like a party or something, like something like that, like something really like off-putting and makes you feel uncomfortable, like maybe you have to have a bowel movement at like a party or something, like something like that, like something really like off-putting and makes you feel uncomfortable, like maybe you have to have a bowel movement at like a party or something, at like a party or something, at like a party or something, at a party or something, at like maybe you have to have a bowel movement.